Hi guys, it's SimLicy here, so welcome to another speed build. So today I am back building in the world of Evergreen Harbor, and this time it's going to be a build for my save file, which I am very excited about because, well, anytime I build for my save file, it's always a lot of fun and I enjoy sharing it with you guys and like my ideas and my vision and stuff for my save. But I'm also just having a lot of fun building in this world in general. As you guys probably noticed, a lot of my builds recently have been here. And I'm just really inspired. I've realized that there are so many things from this pack that I have just not really used at all. And this pack has been out for a long time now. And so I think it's kind of a shame that I haven't used this stuff, but it's also kind of exciting because then it's like I have a new pack right now. And right now there's nothing new. We had the kits and we had, what was that one pack called? The paranormal stuff. That came out while I was still on maternity leave. So I feel like I kind of missed that one. And so I'm definitely really eager for an expansion pack or something new to come to the game. But for now, this is really refreshing and I'm having a lot of fun with it. But anyways, before we get too far into the video, I did want to remind you guys that I am still hosting a giveaway where you can win a Sims 4 pack of your choice. And I will be picking 3 winners on May 15th. So it's coming up very soon, and all you have to do to enter is download Disney Emoji Blitz using my link in the description box, and then reach level 10 in the game. Once you do, screenshot it and send it to me over on Twitter, and then you will be entered to win a Sims 4 pack of your choice. But all of the information will be down in the description box, so definitely check that out if you guys have not entered already. And anything that you spend in game will help support me, so anything like that is greatly appreciated. And good luck to all of those who enter. So here you can see the build is starting to come together. Basically, my idea for this house was I wanted it to look like a converted warehouse, which I think is a really fun idea, and I think it looks that way. I was trying to keep most of its like warehouse essence, I guess you could call it. I still wanted it to be recognizable as a warehouse, but I tried to update part of it and make part of it more modern, and the interior is like completely modern. And it was such a fun build, so hopefully you guys will like it. I'm very excited to share it with you guys. But this build is for the Sterling Rico household. If you guys are familiar with this pack at all, then you know this family and you know that they live here. And I honestly thought that they were roommates before I built this because their original house had like several different bedrooms, and I just assumed that they had their own bedroom if they were roommates. But according to their description, they are dating and they're like a power couple who basically want to take over Evergreen Harbor. And I didn't really realize any of this. So it was so much fun for me to read their description and base this house off of them. And I think it fits them so nicely. So I'm really hoping that you guys agree. But their description says that Bess and Jules are a power couple with big dreams and they dream about sweet, sweet money. And I think this is so funny because I didn't see them this way at all. And I mean, I never do any gameplay, so that's probably why. But Bess, she is a civil engineer and she wants to put herself in like the perfect position to like support her dream and her visions and all of that kind of stuff. It's just to benefit her bottom line. So she's, you know, she's not in this for the right reasons. And I always saw her as like somebody who wants to benefit the world and like she wants to change Evergreen Harbor basically to improve it, not necessarily for her own benefit, which maybe her storyline could be both. Like she has a vision and it will help Evergreen Harbor, but she really has dreams and ambitions of being pretty wealthy too. So I think that's a possibility. You could want to do both. But basically her partner in crime is her boyfriend Jules, and he's a style influencer, which I did not realize, and I had a lot of fun with that too. The 3rd floor area is like his own style influencer office, which I had so much fun with. I think that turned out really nice. But he loves fashion as much as he loves basically convincing people of his rejected styles, I guess that's what it says. And he is cheerful, charismatic, so he is quite the socialite, and he's just really into like fashion. And I decorated some mannequins in his office area in some of the like I'm gonna call them recycled outfits because they look like they've taken like old tarps and stuff and made clothes out of them. So I used some of those clothes to dress the mannequins, and I figured he could have designed them. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just really happy with the way that space turned out. And I'm really happy that that was his career because I don't think I've done that career type for too many of my Sims in my save file. I think I've only like decorated a few different like apartments and stuff for that career just in like random speed builds and not specifically for my save. So I don't know, I found it really refreshing and I just love the space. So hopefully you guys will like it too. But yeah, that was basically just a little summary of their description that I read on the Sims fandom page. And I just found it really interesting because I didn't realize how little I knew about this household, and it was just so much fun thinking of the type of house they would live in. And my idea for them is basically that they want to turn Evergreen Harbor into a more modern city. They want it to be more eco-friendly, and basically it's Bess's vision, and this house is basically her vision put to use. So she's designed this house. They bought this old warehouse and they've been slowly converting it over time and updating parts of it, and it's just basically, it's her style and her vision, and she's trying to get the city officials to listen to her and trying to change Evergreen Harbor. Because in my save, you guys have probably heard me talk about this already, but I'm going to mention it again just in case you missed it. But for my save, I'm going to have this world be the more industrial, rundown version of the world, and then through gameplay or through cheats or whatever you would like to do, then you can update it. And I'm trying to have enough builds available that if you do want it to be the more modern version, then you can download them from the gallery and update the world with my build. And this one I felt was kind of like the perfect in between. It gave me a chance to do something a little bit modern for my save, but I'll definitely be doing a lot more modern builds here that would work if you guys wanted to update it. But anyways, here you can see I'm just building this little room off the side. It has a little glass roof area. It's pretty cool. I did plan on putting plants in there, but as I was continuing to read more about The Sims, I found out Bess has some juice fizzing skill, so I turned that into a juice fizzing room, which that's an object I just haven't really used. The build that I did here recently in the world, I used that object, I think, for the first time, which is a big shame. But like I said, I've just realized that there's so many things I haven't used, and it's been really fun for me. So hopefully it's fun for you guys as well. And this house does end up having a couple of different spaces, like extra bedrooms. One that I turned into an office space, and the other one is the style influencer office, I guess we could call it. But you could easily turn those both into bedrooms if you decided you wanted to use this house for like a family, or if you decide to play with this household and they end up having kids someday, then you do have room for more Sims to live here, which I really like, because I'm never quite happy if I build a house for a couple and it doesn't have extra bedrooms, because I'm like, what if, you know, they eventually had kids and they needed more space? I always want that to be an easy option. And this room was such a challenge for me. I messed with it for so long, and I think I even cut some of it out. But that ends up being the kitchen, and it's one of my most favorite kitchens that I've done in such a long time. So hopefully you guys will like it too, but I think it's so cool and interesting. And I think the house is just interesting in general, not only because it's a converted warehouse and the style of it's pretty interesting, but I used lots of like platforms, which I just don't really do a whole lot. And I've realized recently that I need to use them more because they're a really cool feature. Even though they are a little bit glitchy, they cause some problems every once in a while, I still really enjoy them. And yeah, I think they can make like floor plans so much more interesting because of just the different levels basically. But you will notice that I'm constantly like raising and lowering the different levels because they will just shoot up out of nowhere or drop, or they just do crazy things. So they are kind of a pain and they take a little bit of time, but I really do like them. And yeah, the interior ends up being very open. As you can see, the living space that I'm working on right now is very open. I end up having the dining room in here, the living room, and it's just all very spacious and modern, and I think it just suits them so nicely. And here on that porch, I used those same couches from Eco Lifestyle that I used in the last build that I did in this world. I think they look so good in like an L shape. The plants on them look a little bit fake and kind of plasticky, which bothers me a little bit, but I still really like it. So I definitely took that idea from the last build, and I'll link that one, by the way, because if you like this one, then you'll probably like that one as well. And I'm just really proud of it, so I might mention it a few more times. But here I just switched up the windows because I realized that I was going to make this the kitchen and I needed room for the counters, and I really don't like blocking the windows with the counters or like the stove or anything, any of the appliances. I just don't quite like the way that looks. But the floor plan surprisingly came together really easily. I was a little bit worried about it before I started working on it, but everything just placed so nicely, and thankfully we have ladders, so I could easily add a ladder up to this third level, and I didn't have to have another staircase because that would have took up so much space, and I probably wouldn't have ended up using that third level because I think it just would have took up way too much space using those. So definitely really happy to have those. And then in the outdoor area, you can tell that I have a garden and I fill it with a ton of plants, and the planters on the balcony I fill as well. And I think there's a few more planters around that I fill with plants. So they have a lot of them. I don't think any of them have a gardening skill, but I'm gonna give it to them before I release them in my save file, because they do a lot of gardening according to my build. And I think that's just part of their vision for Evergreen Harbor and something they want other houses and other people to implement in their homes and stuff too. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I also really like this little area that I have over here with these vertical planters. I have a workbench and then a couple of those little bug house hotel things. And yeah, I think it looks super cute. And I also place an outdoor dining table. They have this barbecuer that I thought was absolutely perfect. It came from Jungle Adventure, and normally I would use like a more traditional standard looking barbecuer, but for them I thought this one was perfect because it looks like they found like this old barrel somewhere here in the harbor, and then they just put the grill right on top of it and then they use it as a barbecuer. So I thought it was perfect. And then over here they have a seating area that I think is also super cute, and I just had so much fun decorating this. I think the outdoor area just came together so easily. The indoor area I think came together easily as well, but I don't know, I'm just pretty happy with this build in general. So I think all of it came together really quickly, and I think it just made sense for me and for this household. So I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say. But here I'm just decorating this porch, getting it put together. I did kind of struggle though with what to put on either side of this door and window. I end up using these pre-planted vertical planters. And I think they look good there. I just was kind of messing around with it for a while, especially here to the left of the window was kind of a struggle for me. I thought about putting a chimney, but then I didn't quite like the way that looked. So I just kind of shuffled these things over to center them up with the wall and then put the vertical planters there. And then I used a couple of the trash cans that came with, I think with Snowy Escape, because they have the recycling symbols on them, or they look like they're supposed to be for recycling, and I just thought it made more sense for this build and for the world in general. I'll have to use those trash cans a lot more throughout this world, or at least in the more like updated builds that I do for this world. But anyways, here I'm working on a seating area on the patio. I used these lounge chairs that came in the Eco Lifestyle pack, and I thought about using an umbrella, and I shuffled things around trying to see if I liked a better layout for this patio, but I definitely thought the lounge chairs belonged in this space. And then I have a couple of these really cool planters. These came with Eco Lifestyle as well, and they're actually self-watering, which is something I didn't really notice. I mean, there's lots of stuff about this pack that I don't really know because I never do any gameplay, but like I've said, there's so many things that I just haven't really used or paid attention to in builds. And yeah, that was one of them. I didn't realize that they were self-watering. And in my last build that I did in this world, I didn't realize that I could place any plants I wanted to in them, but this is the build where I found out that I could. They just didn't quite look like they were snapping into place like they do in the regular planters. So I thought they weren't fitting in the places that I thought they should. So they work. You can plant any plants you want in them, and I did fill them up, and you'll see that in the screenshots. And there I'm just placing a couple more planters, which I also fill with plants. And I tried to make a good variety of plants. Since this is going to be for my save file, I didn't want you guys to feel like you had to go through and replace them. I mean, maybe you will, especially if you're into gardening in The Sims and you like your Sims to collect the plants themselves, and of course, by all means, remove the plants, but I wanted it to feel like you guys could leave them there. But here I am moving on to the interior, and I'm starting off by decorating the kitchen. And like I mentioned, I absolutely love the kitchen because it has this little like step down into the kitchen, but also just the way I decorated it and the counters that I chose and everything. I think it just looks so good in here, so hopefully you guys will agree. But I ended up using these counters and cabinets from Cool Kitchen, which I don't use these ones very often, and I did not even realize that it had a matching refrigerator. I knew a refrigerator came with that stuff pack, but I didn't realize it actually matched in like the wood tone to the whole kitchen set. I had no idea. So that was completely brand new for me in this build, and that pack has been out for a very long time. So I found that very surprising. But anyways, I just think the layout of it is really nice with the nice square island in the middle, and just like the placement of everything, I just think it looks really cool. So yeah, I was pretty proud of it, and it looks industrial, it looks modern, it looks like, I don't know, I feel like it belongs in this build. So I was pretty proud of it, and I do decorate it quite a bit with different like clutter items, but not too much. It's still pretty like simply decorated. I didn't feel like they were the type of household to have like tons of clutter. I usually see that more in families that have like children and stuff. I feel like adding more clutter because, I mean, having children makes your house a little bit messier. And yeah, I don't know. That's usually what I tend to do. I mean, sometimes I'll do like apartments or something for a single sim that's really cluttery, and that's just because I can't help myself and the decorating gets away from me basically. But yeah, I think for just like couples who are a bit younger, leaving it a bit cleaner makes more sense, at least in my opinion. But I do add a few things here on the counter, like these jars. I definitely imagine that they would do some like canning. Since Bess is into juice fizzing, I did think she would be into canning. I'm really hoping that we would get that in some sort of pack eventually. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I would see her doing it. So maybe if we get that in the future, then I could update this build to have a place for canning. But knowing the Sims, it's going to be a gigantic object that you will need an entire room for. So I wouldn't even be able to fit it in this build if I wanted to. I mean, not necessarily, but I think it's a safe bet that if we get something like that, it will be gigantic because everything is so huge, like the telescope, the microscope, the juice fizzing machine that I use in this build, and also like the candle making thing that came in this pack. Also, everything is just so big and it takes up way too much space. So I think that's the main reason why I don't typically use those objects and why I haven't used certain objects from this pack, but I am determined recently to use them. But anyways, here you can see I'm decorating the dining room area, and the kitchen is pretty simple, but I don't know, looking at it, I just really like it. So I like this area too, and I just like how it's all open and you can see the entire living area from every single room. Like if you stand in the kitchen, you can see all the way to the living room, past the dining room, and then vice versa. If you stand in the living room, you can see all the way to the kitchen. So I think that's super neat. And then also into the extra room with the juice fizzing station. It has these big sliding glass doors that you can see it nicely into it as well. So it just feels nice and airy and definitely completely different from a warehouse, but I think it still has somewhat of a warehouse vibe because I did try to make it feel a bit industrial, but I think having it be nice and open makes it feel a bit more like a warehouse because, you know, they're kind of big and spacious usually. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just really happy with the way it came together and the way it's decorated. But over here is going to be the downstairs bathroom. There ends up being two other bathrooms in this build. There's a hallway bathroom, and then there's also a ensuite bathroom, so you could easily turn one of those into like a small bedroom if you wanted to. Probably just the shared one upstairs because it's probably not that necessary, but I think there's a lot of potential if you wanted to have like a family living here. If you decided to play with this household and eventually they have kids someday, I think that would be so cute and I think a lot of fun. But anyways, I just quickly decorated that bathroom, and then over here is going to be the living room. So in this living room, I knew I wanted to use the furniture from the Eco Lifestyle pack because it all looks like updated and like recycled and modern, and basically it just came with this pack, so I wanted to use it because everything just matches together so nicely. And also if you have tiny living, that matches this stuff so nicely. Same with seasons. Those packs all go so well together. But I really like this living room. I liked using that chair that looks like it's made out of like a burlap sack or something. I thought that was pretty cool. And at first I don't place a TV, but I do end up placing a TV on a little crate box, and I use one of the like older style TVs that came in this pack because I figured they just found it somewhere. They're not big on having TV, but maybe they found it when they were looking for recycled material or material to recycle, and they decided to fix it up and use it as their own TV. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now over here is the entryway, and at first I was just gonna leave it as like one big entryway room, and I thought about putting a computer desk here, but I ended up actually separating off a room for the washer and dryer. So they have like a little laundry room up here, and I'm actually really pleased with that because I did think about putting like a clothesline outside and having like a wash bucket, or I was trying to think of where else I could include a washer and dryer in this build because for my save, I want all of the builds to have a spot to do laundry, and then you could easily just delete it if you don't want to do laundry, or if you don't have the laundry pack, then you could easily just use that space for something else like another bathroom or basically anything that you wanted to. So it's something I try to include in all of the builds for my save. So I was happy that I was able to make it happen in this one. And I think it ends up being really cute. It's nothing special. It's just a nice, simple laundry room. And I think the entryway is really nice too. It's Definitely a lot easier, I think, to decorate it being smaller, and I think it looks better. At first, I was not really liking the way it was looking, being such a big room. So I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah, in here they just have some like storage and then the washer and dryer and a few laundry related items. I don't really know what else to say about it because it's a very simple laundry room, but it of course gets the job done. And I put a laundry hamper in here as well instead of putting one up in the bedroom like I normally do. I tend to always put laundry hampers in the bedrooms, but it's probably more practical to have it by the washer and dryer. But anyways, over here is going to be the juice fizzing room. That is so hard for me to say, by the way, juice fizzing. I feel like it makes me so tongue-tied, but either way, this is the special dedicated room for this machine to make all of the juice, and I didn't really know what else to include in here because I don't think anything else is really required. So I just found like random clutter items in the debug menu that are related to juice fizzing and also just other things in the game, and just sort of tried to put them around and make it look like she actually uses this room. And I did think about using some of these scrolled up plans for, I think it's something that came in this pack, so forgive me because I never do any gameplay, but I was going to use a couple of them down here, but I don't end up keeping it just because I didn't quite like the way it looked here, and I'm gonna have to use those scrolls in other builds because they do look really nice, but in here they just looked a little bit weird. And I also struggled with what to do above these windows. I tried adding cabinets and blinds, but I couldn't find anything that I liked. So this room was a bit difficult for me. I think it was the hardest room to decorate in this entire build. So I think it can be improved on. So don't be surprised if, like, when you download my save, if it looks different, because I might change that room a little bit eventually. But I think it has a lot of potential, and I like having a special room for her to make juice in. I think it's pretty cool. But anyways, moving on to the second floor, I quickly decorate this bathroom. It's just the shared bathroom for the bedrooms. If you decide to have like kids, then this is the bathroom they would use. You could easily turn it into like a small toddler room or something. I mean, it would be a very small bedroom, so maybe it wouldn't be very practical to be a bedroom, but this room, the office, would definitely work as a bedroom if you would like to. And now that we have bunk beds, you could have like 4 kids in here, 6 kids in here pretty easily. I mean, 6 is definitely pushing it, but you could have like 2 kids easily in this room. But this is just an office hangout room. I put a dartboard in here. I put a game table in here, and then just some like random clutter items. Now, I think it was Jules that had a photography skill, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, he just had like a couple of skill points in photography. I think I'll actually make it a little bit higher. So I put that in here for him, and then also he does have writing skills. So I imagine he uses this office space quite a bit, but I also think Bess uses it. So it's just a shared office for both of them to get work done. And then the third floor is definitely all for Jules because he needs a proper space to do his what do you call it? His style influencing, I guess. What's the actual career name for it? Is it just style influencer? I think it might be, but either way, I really like the office space. I think it turned out really nice. And I also put the bulletin board above the computer desk because I imagine that was like just different things that they've gotten around town for like real estate. Maybe they're thinking about buying another property to fix up. Maybe it's like a rental or something that they plan on renting out to people, or just fixing up and selling altogether. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's a pretty fun idea. And then over here is going to be their ensuite bathroom to their bedroom. And this is definitely my favorite bathroom out of all of them. I mean, it looks pretty similar, but it does have the standalone shower that's just mounted, like the wall mounted shower that came with, I think, Discovery University. I thought that looked really nice in there, so I was pretty proud about it. But over here is going to be their bedroom, and I really like their bedroom as well. I mean, I like everything about this build. So as you guys can probably tell, I've said that a lot, but either way, I think it just turns out really nice, and it's just a nice simple bedroom. It's not overly cluttered or decorated with a lot of like skill building objects. It's simply a bedroom, but I think it looks really pretty, and I just like the furniture that came in this pack. I think this dresser is really nice, and it matches the bed really well too. And then they just have a mirror and some plants and some clutter items and a few pieces of artwork. And I thought that these ones could be like framed articles about the work that they're doing on this house, and they're really proud of it. they talk about it all the time. Obviously, they are really proud of the work that they're doing, and they like promoting it, and they like seeing their names in the newspaper. So I thought that was pretty appropriate. And then I put a picture frame right there because I thought that Jules would take some pictures of them together and they would keep it up on their bedroom wall. Now, originally I forgot that he was a style influencer, and I actually decorated this as like a simple attic, and I'm so happy that I realized that he was, because I was able to put the influencer board up here, some mannequins. I was able to use some clutter objects from, I think I used some from the knitting pack, but the colors in that pack just really don't suit a lot of builds. I was able to use this shelf that has like the paints and stuff on it because it came in this green swatch, but a lot of the stuff comes in a lot of pinks and like pastel colors, but there are a few things that come in like browns and greens. So I have some clutter options, and then I used some of these base game towels thinking that it was extra like fabric and stuff. And then, like I mentioned, I do go through and I decorate the mannequins or dress the mannequins in some of the clothing that came in this pack that I assume that he designed, or I'm gonna pretend that he designed anyway. So I think that's super fun, and yeah, I'm just really proud of the way this room came together, and I had a lot of fun just finding different clutter items that I think would suit a style influencer, but also it suits the style of this build in general, and I think it makes sense for this build, and I think it just came together, I don't know, really well. So hopefully you guys will agree. And other than that, I was trying to think of different things that I could put in here to basically just add more activities, because it felt like there really wasn't a whole lot to do in here besides, I mean, you could use the styling board and then you could sit and read, but other than that, there really wasn't like too many activities. And I didn't want to add another computer desk, so what I ended up adding was a keyboard. So I think he enjoys playing the keyboard too. He doesn't have that as a skill, but I will give it to him because, as I do with all of my Sims in my save file, I go through and I give them skills that I think are appropriate to their careers or just the way I see them in general. So yeah, that's what I ended up doing, and I think this room just turned out to be so cute. So hopefully you guys will like it too, but this is basically it for the build, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed. And don't forget that I am still doing that giveaway, so all the information is in the description box. And again, if you enter, I wish you luck and thank you for participating. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and please leave any comments or suggestions you have, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!
We may have it all, up the ladder, down the wall, different mysteries, full life mixed with tease. We are happy most of the time, and we get along better than fine. Left and right we braid, through the ups and downs we sway. It's easy either way. When I'm covered in tears, you scare away them fears. Together we know how to be more than our vows. We are happy most of the time, and we get along way.